So yesterday, former Packer Aaron Jones, who is now, unfortunately, on the Minnesota Vikings, was on the show Speak on FS1, and he was talking with LaShawn McCoy here and a few other people, including Joy Taylor, Dave Hellman, and TJ Hushmanzada, about being on the Vikings. And then he gets asked about the Packers as well. So let me just play these short clips, and then I will give my thoughts. Here we go.
I got traded from Philadelphia to the Buffalo Bills, right? And I remember asking Coach Kelly, well, if you don't think that I'm still the guy, we'll trade me in the division. Let's find out, right? And you go from the Packers, from green, to now you're in that purple in Minnesota. I want to ask you, like, is there a revenge factor? Like, you playing twice a year?
I'm definitely excited to play them, you know. It's not a matter of if they think I'm the guy or not, because I think I showed that the last 5 games of the season there. But I get how it works as a business, but I'm definitely excited to go show them that, hey, I got a lot of ball left. Yes, they just decided they wanted to go younger. And I got a lot of love for Josh Jacobs, so shout out to Josh. But, yeah, but at the end of the day, just go, you know, it's ball and go show them, hey, I still got a lot left in the tank.
That's right.
Ocean that you're going to have when you come out of the visitors, not the home, the visitors locker room in the Lambeau Field?
I've thought about going back to Lambeau, but I haven't thought about the emotion. I think I was more on Shady's kind of that chip on the shoulder, something to prove kind of mentality. I didn't think about how the fans are going to receive me or anything, but I hope they receive me with well. You know, I'll get some cheers, and if it's some booze, then it's up. I'm going to have to do them even worse.
Hey, you score, you going Lambeau League?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to find a Viking fan sitting front row. And I already had it planned out. You know, they say you got to manifest it, so I already had it planned out.
All right, I mean, first off, I'm still getting over the fact that Aaron Jones is sitting here wearing a Vikings jersey. It's still hard to take as a Packers fan who has loved Aaron Jones for such a long time. But getting back to the first part of his response there to LaShawn McCoy, who was asking if there is a revenge factor, because there's no doubt the way that things basically broke off between the Packers and Aaron Jones seemed to, make Aaron Jones feel a little upset with what happened, and I think understandably so. You've been one of the key players on the Packers for such a long time, and then the Packers want you to take, a little bit more than a 50% pay cut, and I get his frustration and why he chose to sign in Minnesota, even though I wish he could have chosen somewhere else, but it is what it is. And even though Aaron Jones wouldn't say like, oh yeah, I'm ready to get my revenge, he's just a nice guy. We all know the kind of awesome person that Aaron Jones is, but you can tell he's excited to play the Packers, the team that decided to part ways with him, and he sounds ready to try to prove to them that he still has a lot of solid play left in him. And the way he ended last season, there's no doubt that he was playing as one of the best running backs in the NFL. And so the question I think the Packers have is, because he is getting older, 29 years old, going to be, I think he'll be 30 in December. Last year he only played in 11 games. I understand the Packers' decision to want to move on to a younger player in Josh Jacobs, and even though Aaron Jones did have a really good stretch at the end of the season, the Packers, wanted to move on because I think they probably had some concern about his injuries. And I think the hard part about this is, in February, Brian Gutekunst said that Aaron Jones was the heart and soul of this team. And so I would imagine that if you're Aaron Jones, you hear the GM say you're the heart and soul of the team, and then you get just a really, really low offer that you feel like isn't worth taking. Things just have gone south, and it didn't end how I thought it would end with Aaron Jones in Green Bay. I assumed he would have stayed, even though I understand the Packers' decision. And this just brought back in my mind, back in 2021, Aaron Rodgers, when he was talking about his grievances with the Packers front office when there was all that back and forth back then. One of the things he brought up was the way that the front office has treated players in the past when they leave the organization. Let me just read this quote. I found it earlier today. Rodgers said, "I wanted to help the organization maybe learn from some of the mistakes in the past, in my opinion, about the way some of the outgoing veterans were treated and just the fact that we didn't retain a number of players that I felt like were core players to our foundation, our locker room, high character guys. I'm talking about Charles Woodson, Jordy Nelson, Julius Peppers, Clay Matthews, Randall Cobb. He names a few others. He said guys who were exceptional players for us, but great locker room guys, high character guys, many of them who weren't offered a contract at all or were extremely lowballed or, in my opinion, not given the respect on the way out that guys of their status and stature and high character deserved. And so thinking back on that quote, with Aaron Jones, it seems like the way things ended with him and the Packers, it didn't seem like it was a very clean break, I guess you could say, because it sounded like Aaron Jones really wanted to be in Green Bay. And the way I took it is he was almost shocked that the Packers didn't wanted to pay him such a low amount of money, which I think made him feel a certain kind of way, understandably so. And then he decides to go to Minnesota. And I think his decision to go to Minnesota shows just, I think, how upset he was. And some of his tweets, shared that after he was let go from Green Bay. And I do feel like Aaron Rodgers had a point. When you've been in an organization for so long and then just all of a sudden the team, lowballs you and maybe doesn't give you the respect you think you deserved after being in the organization for such a long time. I do wonder where the balance is there, because if you're a GM, if you're Brian Gutekunst, you're having to make these business decisions. And just from a solely, play perspective, the age of Aaron Jones, how old he is, how much money he's making, all that kind of stuff, I get the decision to move on from him. You did save $5 million in cap space. But I guess at what point do you factor in the locker room element, the fact that a guy's been here for so long? And I guess I don't know exactly what you do in that situation, because let's say Gutekunst thinks Aaron Jones is worth $6 million a year. The Packers offered him $6 million a year, $4 million plus $2 million in incentives. Do you, if you're the GM, say, well, Aaron Jones has been here a long time, even though we don't think he's worth, let's say, $7, $8 million a year, $9 million a year. Let's just pay him that anyways because he's such a big locker room guy. I think that some teams would be willing to do that, and it depends on the player, of course. But I do think there's something valuable when it comes to the kind of guy that the player is in the locker room and how they're respected and things like that. And I don't think it would have been a bad idea to pay Aaron Jones to cut his pay from, it was supposed to be $12 million. If they would have cut it to $8 or $9 million, I feel like that's understandable. But going 50%, it's like, okay, clearly the Packers wanted to move on from Aaron Jones. And so it's just honestly a tough situation, and I don't know what the right answer is. We've talked about this a lot, but I just wanted to share that clip of Aaron Jones, and it's not going to be fun watching him rush against the Packers. He's a solid running back, and always be an Aaron Jones fan. He's probably been one of the standout guys in Green Bay for the time he's been here. But that's pretty much it for this video. If you want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe below, and I'll see you guys next time.